Over the years, there's been these life lists of I guess things to do, and oddly enough, we used to have one hanging on the back of our bathroom door in our family home, and it was a list of life reminders to try and fulfill all parts of your life. And anyway, one of the things that always stood out to me, among others, on this long list was catch a sunrise once a year, at least once a year. And I've kept that with me, through travels and being on ships, and having been privileged to see just stunning sunrises and sunsets. But there's always been, something very, um, I don't know, I just connect very much with the sunrise, the beginning of a new day, and everything that brings. And that regardless of how our day might have gone, that the sun always comes up and the sun always goes down. So it will pass. Whatever comes into our life, tough as it is, the sun is going to come up the next morning, right? So I try and stay close to that. Why I'm bringing that up here is me catching a sunrise and taking that off the list. I was up earlier than usual this morning. Got up for Casper's amazing webinar, which was a 4 o'clock one here. I'm up by 5:30 anyway, so it was no biggie. I'm really glad I did. There was just so much powerful messaging came through that call just in recognizing what our hearts are feeling, and so many gifts just within that one call. So anyway, I decided to come down and to catch a sunrise as the day starts here and Cayman. And it's kind of notable because picking up where I left off my journey, I arrived to Maui in Hawaii on January 24th, 2015. And there was a very special reason for that date. I was determined to be there for my birthday. And my birthday was the very next day on January 25th, 2015. And I had dreamed and visualized being on the beach for sunrise in Hawaii when I left the cruise ships. And there was, I still remember vividly just the pure joy, the excitement, the hope, just so many emotions tied into that. It had been quite a roller coaster of emotions that time leading up to moving to Hawaii. Obviously leaving the company and everything tied in with that. So I was just, it felt like I was just making my dreams come true. And that, yeah, there were obstacles to moving to Hawaii, but I just overcame them. That was the determination. And so to be sitting there as planned, having made this monumental decision to change my life, and to be sitting there in Hawaii starting my new journey was just incredible. Just so much joy tied up in that. I remember on many occasions driving on the highway on Maui, and I'd just be, the top down, I'd just be like, yes, yes, let out this roar, because life was just amazing, absolutely wonderful. So the backstory to me going to Hawaii, I was going to be sponsored. My brother is a US citizen, has lived in San Francisco for over 20 years. So that's why we were doing it. I was going to be sponsored in for the green card. That was going to take a year. That was the understanding we had going into it, that was going to take about a year to process. So I had decided that during that year I was going to move to Hawaii and get my life set up there, but that I was going to look for opportunities to do some charity work. If I couldn't work when I moved down there, that was what I chose to do, that I wanted to find some meaningful charity work, get involved in that. And it was kind of I remember my thinking at the time was in giving thanks to what that 20 years had given me. So that was my mindset going down. My first week there, I remember I went out and I bought a flip chart. I had the flip chart pinned up on the wall. And I started making lists, and the lists were pretty much it was a to-do list of what I was going to accomplish over the coming weeks and the coming months. And what ended up being a to-do list of kind of 3 or 4 things ended up being 2 pages, and I kept them on the wall so that I saw them every day. And it was everything from, getting a bicycle. I hadn't had a bicycle in over 20 years. Wanted to do that. I wanted to start cooking again, which was and still is an incredible passion. But because of the life I had limited opportunities to cook, and getting involved in charitable work. And added to that, I'd wanted to reconnect with church, with going to mass. I felt spiritual, but because of the life that I've been living, my going to mass was very sporadic, to be quite honest. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't feel that you have to go to mass every day or every week to be a good person. I really don't. I think it's what you do in the time in between, and ultimately it's how you treat other people and how you live your life. So I had very kind of simplistic views on it, but I missed it. I missed being connected with the church. So that was on my list, was to find a church that I was going to reconnect with and start going to mass regularly again. So my first week there was the Sunday that came up. I checked online. There was a Catholic church, and did a bit of research on that. And so I was driving to the church on the Sunday morning, and was for some reason running a couple of minutes late, trying to catch, I think it was a 10 o'clock mass. And I wasn't too familiar with the road, so I missed the turn off to this particular church, and I found myself nearly driving on autopilot to a church that I had seen without knowing what kind of church it was. I had walked past it a couple of days before that, and this church just stopped me in my tracks. It was like this most beautiful, simple, open. It actually didn't have windows on it. It was an open church, very close to the beach, and there was just something grabbed me or struck me with that. And I found when I missed my turn for where I was initially planning to go, without fully understanding why, I was headed towards this other church. And I still remember arriving in, I was a few minutes late, and the experience that I had during that mass just set me on a whole new trajectory that I wasn't expecting. I just connected so much with the messaging in the mass. I couldn't help but notice just how warm, kind, friendly the people were, and how engaging it was. It was so much more than just the priest talking, and it actually led into what I was hoping to find, some charity work. I'm going to keep that for the next time around. But by ending up in that church on that day where I had no intention of going to, it started to fit in the pieces of me making my new life in Maui, and just how special that was going to turn out to be. So I'm going to get into that tomorrow. I'm going to jump in the ocean, enjoy the sunrise that's coming here, and wishing you all a lovely, safe day. Please take care of yourselves, and look forward to sharing more in the next video. Thanks so much.